Yo, so Cafecito Time candles and melt are now available, guys. The smell is unbelievable. And I'm not just saying this, but my house smells so damn good. Every time I come in, everyone's like, are you making coffee? I'm like, nope, it is my new candle. So exclusively just for our listeners, if you use HERR 10, you will get 10% off our melts and the candle. I like them both, so I can't suggest one or the other. I have the melts upstairs in my room, and the candle burns downstairs. So make sure you get yours exclusively only at Twin Candle Co. Make sure you use HERR 10. This episode is brought to you by Major Beauty. Your girl is about to hook you up because y'all know how I do my lashes all the time. And Major Beauty is going to offer $20 off your initial full set of lashes, and the first 6 months you can also use this promo code HERR20 and you can get $20 off your membership because she does offer membership services. So she not only does eyelashes, she also does permanent makeup, those new henna eyebrows. If you're not ready to go full force on the tattooing of the eyebrows, you can try them out by getting this henna stuff done. I haven't tried it because y'all know I got microbladed eyebrows, but I do use Kiana for my lashes. She is my new lash tech. I'm loving her. She's great and she's super duper professional, and you're going to love her little studio. So check her out, The Major Beauty. Make sure you use promo code HERR20 to get a discount off your full set and your membership for the next 6 months, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another HERR Lounge podcast. Just a quick disclaimer already. Usually I know I don't wear makeup, but I look decent without the makeup, in my opinion. Today, if I look crazy, it's because this weekend was crazy. And I mean that I was sick and I was down. So pardon the just look today. Just giving y'all that disclaimer there. Anyhow, before we get started, y'all know that I like to start off with a positive quote. You just have to take it one "Are you fucking kidding me?" at a time, because that is exactly how I felt this weekend, bro.
I thought something came through while you were reading the quote and you were like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's the quote of the day.
I like it.
Yeah, you just have to take it
You're
one
a trooper,
"Are you
dude.
fucking kidding me?" at a time. Man, so I got this, like, I don't know what happened. I was telling you, Rob, before we got started, I really am trying to stay like on my menu. So anywhere we go, especially when we're on the road, I was trying to just stick with the, salads, easy stuff that, doesn't really have a lot of calories. And so I decided to have salmon with spinach and quinoa, and I was fine, I thought. And then it was like, man, I got this little pain. I thought it was, like I said, my hernia, but it wasn't the hernia. So Saturday, I just still had this like weird feeling in my stomach. And then, it's almost that time of the month for me. So I thought, well, maybe, but I don't usually feel this way. I don't know. And then Sunday, y'all, it was not good. Like, I sat through a show. I sat through driving home right after the show. We drove home from Dallas.
Jeez.
And well, I didn't drive, Juan drove, but still I was in the back. I was out. Like, literally, we pulled over to Walgreens. I said I need a blanket because I was cold now. I need a blanket. I got some water, Alka-Seltzer, which did nothing, and I just slept in the back like the majority of the way, pretty much all of it, all the way home. I just was done. I was done. And then, we got home at almost 3. You kind of wake up and you're like, fuck, I got kids I still got to take care of, Hubby came through, though. He held it down because, he got everybody ready while I went and I was like, take him to go play, Like, I went and got some IV at a Treadwell. Guys, if you're in Houston, go check them out.
You look better than I thought you were going to look, considering what you told me last night and what you told me before the podcast.
I'm telling you, yesterday I did not look like I was done.
There's still no oomph to your voice like there typically is, but that's expected.
Yeah.
You're coming out of it.
But I was like, okay, today, that's why I told you yesterday, let's schedule the podcast. But if in the morning I just wake up like I can't do it, I'm going to the doctor. Like, this is it. And when I had a stomach bug. So basically, it's like it drains you and then it dehydrates you. So I went and got an IV yesterday, and I guess it just takes a little while for you to for it to kick in. And I remember just telling Pete, let me take a nap for 30 minutes. Sorry, y'all. One of my lashes just decided to come off on air. Awesome. Anyway,
just gotta roll with it. What was the quote again?
Like I said, what was my quote again today, y'all? See, I'm telling y'all, it's one of them. You just have to take it one, are you fucking kidding me, at a time.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Man. And then I just told him, give me 30 minutes. And I don't know, next thing you know, it was like 6 o'clock. And I said, oh, shit. I said, okay, let's feed them, bathe them. And, I helped bathe Penny and while he bathed the baby. And, I told her she needed to go to bed. I took a shower. I mean, I haven't eaten anything since yesterday. And I haven't had anything today but crackers.
Probably
and this is my food now, probably.
Oh, there we go.
This is my first sip of coffee also. That's probably why I sound like I'm telling them about how awful I was this weekend, babe.
She's powering through, though. Looks good. I'm just zoomed in on her.
Yeah, so, it was one of those days like that. So I haven't had coffee either because I've been scared to drink coffee. And I told Dawn, when she texted me, I was like, she's like, is there anything on the newsletter? I'm like, bro, at this time, whatever you think is cool, add it, because I'm just not even thinking. And and I said, let me just tell you, I haven't had coffee like in 2 days. So for me to not have coffee in 2 days, I'm down, because I don't go a day without coffee.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared to sip it.
Think it might give you the bubblies?
I don't know. I'm scared though. But I just know that I need coffee, if that makes sense.
And some solids, though.
Yeah. And I've had crackers. That's it. So I lost weight, but not the good way. So
No.
I'm just saying. But anyway.
Yikes.
So, yeah. So I know that we said we were going to podcast after elections.
Right.
But because I work at the Hive, that wasn't going to work. But I went to go vote today. I just finished. We just came back. So thank you, Rob, for being patient.
Yeah, for sure.
That took a long time.
Well, how long?
Got there at 10:50. Look what time I'm getting here.
Damn. And all this obviously because of the scheduling. Like, you guys weren't able to vote early.
We had to leave.
How it happened.
Yeah, we were gonna go the day that we left to Dallas. We were gonna stop on the way, but we were really leaving so late because we were trying not to let the girls miss any of their classes this week. Or this past week, and so we left after Penny swim class. So that was at 11:30. By the time we get home, it's 12. It's almost a 4-hour drive. So, that took forever. So it's like, yeah, I guess we're going to have to do it when we get back, which sucks because I don't like waiting the day of. But it was interesting to watch everyone in line. I did like that we were all in one line. They didn't separate us this time, but I guess they only do that, right?
Yeah, for primaries.
For primaries,
yeah.
Okay.
So not the actual midterm, and obviously not for the federal election.
Right. So I thought that was like, okay, I'm glad that they didn't do that. And
you got your sticker on.
I have my sticker on today. I did. I walked out and I was like, this is very important. Like, this is so important right now. And I just was looking at everyone in line, and then I'm in line, right, trying to pay bills and stuff, and I'm just like, because there's nothing else to do, you're just standing there.
Trying to be productive.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, I wasted a whole day yesterday. I was like, I need to be productive today. So Pete goes, look at that. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh. So I don't know what her purpose was of wearing that. She was wearing no underwear. I mean, what she was, it was a thong with a t-shirt in line. And I was like, is it my body, my choice?
Give your rosaries off my ovaries kind of thing?
I mean, is that what... I didn't know what she was trying
to... Was she cute at least?
I mean, she wasn't ugly.
Okay, all right.
But she wasn't okay. I'm sure any guy would hit that just because she's passable.
Hey, my kind of gal.
She's passable, and then if you've had a few drinks, she's really going to be passable. Does that make sense?
When someone told me, I was like, what kind of undies is she wearing? That was my first question.
Yeah, so she was in line with that, and the girl behind her was, save Roe v. Wade, and then all the reasons in the back, and had a picture of ovaries, and you being able to kill the baby, which I thought was very.
You're not supposed to wear political thing, it's sides when you're in line, when you're at polling stations.
Oh yeah.
But it's funny that people will go around that and just still tell you.
There was another guy wearing make the red wave great again or something like that, or waiting on something about the red wave. And it's funny because as everybody's in line, no one knows now at this point versus like when I told you when we went to the primaries.
Same thing, same meaning.
Yeah. Everybody there was rude to each other. Does that make sense? Because you found out who was on what side. But today, you didn't know who was on what side.
Friend or foe.
So everybody was friendly.
Yeah, of course.
Nobody was fucking rude.
Yeah.
And I said, do you see that? No one is friends with anybody over where you fucking stand, you know? So I was like, this is such an interesting thing to watch, you know, just to be there and to be just observe. And then I heard this one man, I wanted to talk to him so bad, but I was just not in the mood just because I'm just not 100%. Otherwise, I probably would have. He said it was his first time voting. He tells the lady in front of him, he's like, is this the end of the line? I've never voted before. It's my first time. Had an accent, Hispanic man, so I'm assuming he just got his citizenship.
Nice.
And but he was wearing a mask, so we kind of know which way he's going to vote already. So
Está asustado, you know?
There were so many people still wearing masks, and I could not believe it.
Dude, driving here, I mean, first of all, and I guess we can get to it, there was a Beto van blocking a street down here on Alabama. And then
I passed by it as they pick up their signs. They're going like this, and I'm just like this the whole way. And they just smile. I mean, what else could they do, right?
Yeah, they were passing out pamphlets and stuff too to people on the sidewalk. And no offense, but the people on the sidewalk did not look like they wanted the pamphlets they were giving them. Kind of just stopping them while these people were walking down the street with a paper bag in their hand.
Oh my God, I'm so scared, but I know I need this coffee so bad. Yo.
What is it? Let people know what you're drinking.
I'm drinking a nitro cold brew with pumpkin cream foam.
Ooh, first coffee in how long?
In 2 days.
Oof.
It's going to probably make my eyes water because it's going to be so good.
Yeah, I think your eyes are already watery.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I just like, it's like, I told Pete, I was like, I feel like I barely have life again. Like it's just coming up. Like I actually woke up and my stomach didn't hurt. Like there was not a day that I wasn't waking up with a stomach ache. And he was like, should we go to urgent care? And I felt like I was such a like Mexican at this time because I'm like, no, man, because I just felt like it was something was up. Like it's just, I didn't feel like it was, okay, I need to go to the doctor. Like I feel like whenever I need, like, okay, my heart situation.
Different.
That was like, no, like that was not like, I went immediately to the doctor. Like I need to go check what that is. But you know, like my stomach, and then you start reading things. So then you start thinking like, oh shit, like, could it be that? So then like it tells you like your pee shouldn't be dark. So I'm like scared now. I'm like, oh my God, there's an infection if your pee is dark. So now I'm like checking my pee. I'm like, oh, my pee is clear as daylight because all I kept drinking was water, you know?
WebMDing yourself to death.
Totally. I was like, just stop reading stuff and just, there was nothing else that it could be because prior to getting to the club, the only other thing that I had was another meal of mine that I already had, my lunch meal that I had prepared. That's part of my menu. So it was from my house. And I know it wasn't that because I've had that the whole week. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I mean.
So no one else around you got
no
this,
one
right?
did. And Midnight's girlfriend ate the same thing I did. So I don't know. I kept trying to think of like what it could be. And then I was like, coffee? Did I drink bad coffee? I was like, is that even possible?
Well, if Marisol takes this sip and there's not an episode on Friday, you know why.
Exactly. So, yeah. So anyway, what was I at? Oh yeah. So I voted today. So it was interesting just watching everyone, and shout out to Kathy. She was out there, you know, supporting Alexandra.
Nice.
The Morale Mueller. And I want to go to her watch party tonight. I really do.
You're gonna try to...
I'm going to try to make it if I'm feeling like decent. If not, then I'm just going to have to watch it from home.
What a bummer, because you were so excited last week.
I've never been to one. I really wanted to go.
Mingle with these people.
I really did. I'm curious. This is all new for me. And I can't even believe it myself. When I was thinking about wow, why am I making voting so important? Like I never really okay, if literally, I'm not joking. I think the first time I voted ever when I was 18, I think it was Clinton that was running at that time. I think that was when I went to go vote for the first time.
Damn, like mid-90s?
Yeah,
right, mid to late 90s?
Late 90s, because I was probably 99, 2000. Because who was president in 2000?
Bush.
I didn't vote for Bush.
Yeah, it was
I know
before
that
that,
for
yeah.
I know that for a fact.
When you think about it too, like, and I know you have other topics you want to talk about, but when you think about it though, it's weird. Like, that's all we've had. We had Clinton, Bush, Obama, then Trump, and then like this debacle. It's wild. So like, I know now that you're paying more attention to it, you have to feel a certain way about
I do,
everything.
and I feel again. I'm not really a party you know, the pastor on Sunday, I watched church because we weren't in town, and I watched it on TV. And my favorite thing that he said was that later on that evening at 5 p.m., they were having a prayer ceremony he said, whether you're donkey or elephant, we just want to pray for you. So come on in and we'll pray for everybody. And I love that. I love that he said, doesn't matter where you are, where you stand, you know, we're a church. And at the end of the day, we're just here to do one thing, which is just, you know, pray for you. And so I thought that was a really cool thing. Even though I think we know where the pastor stands, you know, I still love that he said, you know, we welcome you. We would love to pray for you, which I think says a lot about a pastor, you know what I'm saying? And in a church. And I don't know who all went, you know, but I saw it, and I saw one of the ladies that I met at the last event that we went to. She's running for one of the judges for, I forget what district. Her name's Tanya. We were talking, and I saw her there, and she posted her picture where they were praying over her. And I just like, I told Pete, I was like, I seriously, like, sadly, or not sadly, I don't know what the right word is, but like literally right before I started voting, I just said a little prayer. Because I said, this is crazy, man. Because I feel like still, Rob, I think a lot of Republicans are scared.
Yeah.
I think they're scared of the Democrats. I really think they are. You should have seen the amount of signs that were out there. I don't know if the Republican ones were knocked over or what, but there was like 4 out of the thousands is an exaggeration, but hundreds of signs that were out there, you know. And shout out to Kathy, who was out there with her sign, her and her husband for Alexander. And I saw her, and I saw another lady holding a sign also for Alex, just sitting there, you know. She wasn't saying anything, just sitting there in her seat. And I just gave her a high five, and I told her, I said, thank you for standing out here, you know, and in hopes that there's change.
Well, it's crazy because ideas, and this kind of, I guess, segues into what you wanted to talk about. Matt Walsh on Rogan. I thought when I saw the picture, I was like, holy shit, it's one of those like the internet kind of exploding kind of mini moment, right? But it's weird because ideas have such a power over people that it can ruin empires, it can collapse civilizations all over ideas. And then people's either, you know, liking of those ideas or their disagreements with those ideas will literally topple an entire civilization. And we're kind of going through that right now with a lot of ideas.
Yes, starting with transgender. And I wanted to play something because I've always said, like, what is the right way to say something like along the lines of like, just stop it already. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll never know what it's like to be a woman. Now, you can do whatever you want and chop off your stuff and wear a stopper in the hole so that it remains open, right? And get all sorts of infections because you really feel in your heart that you're a female. But you'll never go through none of the things that females go through, like experiencing having your fucking period. Or as our good friend Sheila just went through some shit. I'm not going to say her business, you know, but, you know, she had to go and get some stuff removed, you know. So a man, you know, will never know what that's like, even if you were to transition over, because internally you don't have anything of the same organs that we do, and you don't function the same way we do. Like, so the fact that they're pushing so hard for you to say you must call them this, I will call you Sharon, Susan, Sally, whatever you want to be called, right? Because I respect you as a person. But we need to agree that internally you're not a female. You can physically look like one. And I think that's honestly, I think I said that last podcast. I feel like the reason I respect that girl, Blair White, is because she says, I will never know what it's like to be a real woman. But I felt physically like she felt these things. And I can respect that, but at least she knows that she's never gonna. And she's never gonna get pregnant. Like, you can't have a baby through your booty hole, ma'am, sir.
Not yet.
You know, when that literally, Rob, if that happens, this podcast has got to drop again. Because I will be floored and I just will not, I will not believe that it actually happened. But Politics posted a really good reel the other day. And I just really liked it because basically it was her saying, and dang it, was it a reel or was it maybe they posted it on the story, but they did a collab with Emery Rose and, she just had to get her ovaries removed. And so she was saying, like, just stop with that shit. Like, you'll never, you'll just never be a woman. Like, and she's telling you what a woman is. Maybe. Okay, here we go. Hold on.
My name is Emery Moore. I'm 29 years old and I have ovarian cancer. I feel so disrespected by biological men putting on wigs, dresses, and makeup, claiming they understand or know anything about womanhood. I will give you a little insight on what womanhood really is. It's being diagnosed with ovarian cancer at 29 years old. It's losing one of your ovaries and being told your chances of getting pregnant is slim to none. It's spending thousands of dollars to freeze your eggs just to find out you only had one egg your doctor could retrieve, and that one egg only has a 10% chance of becoming a baby one day. It's having your dreams of becoming a mother shattered, but above all, it's being mentally and physically tough enough to handle that life-altering information thrown at you all at once. Don't claim that a man has any idea what womanhood is all about. It has come down to mocking and disrespecting women, and it needs to stop.
Hello.
That's a great picture.
I mean, did she not just...
She nailed it, and she nailed it, and she's talking to a lot of crazy people, obviously. I don't know. I don't believe that a lot of these people, when they're talking about the subject, believe what they're saying. They just want attention. They just want to ruffle feathers. They want to try to maybe change culture down the line.
I mean, at the end of the day, there has got to be some... it's more than... You woke up one day and okay, let's go into the Dylan McIlvaney or whatever.
I was just about to say Mulvaney. Yeah.
Mulvaney, okay, that guy. So you go from being an actor, you were on like Mormon something. He was the Book of Mormon.
Oh,
he
word?
He was in that musical. He was also he's done several things which didn't get him no big role. I mean, obviously the Book of Mormon, I mean, that was a really big musical, so I wasn't sure that didn't maybe do anything for his career still,
He didn't get enough notoriety.
Yeah. So now you decide during the pandemic you feel like a woman. I think he was always gay because obviously
He's
the
pretty
Book of
flamboyant. Yeah.
But all of a sudden you decide, you don't have that many followers on TikTok, and then all of a sudden you decide you're going to do this exaggerated version of what it's like to be into girlhood, not even womanhood, it's girlhood.
Oh, that's what he calls it, right?
Yes.
Like day 200 of being a girl. Yeah.
So the one that cracked me up, when I first saw that, and I forget where I heard this, where they thought that it was, Blair White said too, that she thought it was like a parody of someone or making fun of a transgender person transitioning into their female. Mm-hmm. I thought it was that too because it was so over the top. Yeah. I thought, oh my God, this is so good. Like, is this a joke? Because I thought I was ready to repost it because I was like, this is hilarious. And then when I found out it was real, I was like, what? Sir, we don't hike with high heels. Who told you?
A lot of people have made that point.
And then two, not every girl is scared of bugs, or at least I'm not. I'm not weird about bugs.
I hate bugs.
You do? See, I mean, there you go. So you're a guy and you hate bugs. Yeah. So why is that? And then I never forget then I kept going down his rabbit hole. And so I watched another one of his TikToks where it was he said, I went into the restroom and the girl next to me asked me for a tampon. Well, one, why are you in a girl's restroom, first of all?
He's a girl. He's a girl, Marisol.
So now we just let
Or she,
anybody go into the girl's restroom. Imagine, just imagine Brookie having to go to the restroom and this guy's in there.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a good sight. Not a good scene. Not a good scene. Glad I'm not on camera today.
Imagine that. Just imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine like Penny going into a dressing or, you know, a room or, you know,
Or a dressing room.
a dressing room.
Or a dressing room or a restroom, yeah.
And next thing you know, this guy's got his dong just hanging out and we're just supposed to be okay because physically everywhere else he identifies as a female.
Yeah, I think the jury is out on this like, because maybe 6 months ago to a year, more people were like, yeah, like we're behind it. I think less and less people are behind this idea because it's so absurd. Like you can paint all of these examples with kids where you're like, yeah, that doesn't bode well for the child or for the future of just, you know, society.
I mean, at some point you have got to stop, man. If you guys have not heard, I haven't finished the episode with Matt Walsh and Rogan, but so many things are, I mean, it's just common sense as a parent. It's common sense as a parent. Like, I 100% agree with Rogan when he said, if you're a grown adult, you are free to do what the fuck you want to do with yourself.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with that. Like, if you want to transition yourself as a grown adult, I'm not against that because you're an adult. You've lived life. You know what you're doing. It's your decision, right? But why don't we let kids get tattoos at 5 and 4? That's an altering
Right.
decision to make on your body.
Yeah, I think they might have brought it up on that episode because I don't. No one ever made that point, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I don't have tattoos. I never think about it, but I'm like, that's a great
We
point.
don't let them also start drinking alcohol,
Smoke cigarettes,
smoke cigarettes.
vote, drive.
I mean, they get a license at 3 now or what?
Yeah.
Is that next?
Well, the dangerous part is if this were to become more of a legal thing, like in Canada, right, where people are getting their kids taken away from them if you don't affirm whatever the hell, you know.
Well, I just think that I'm over it 100%. And at first, I think I've said this before, I always used to tiptoe around the subject because I just didn't want anybody to, you know, heaven forbid anybody call me, you know, transphobic or what's the other word? TERF?
Bigot. Oh, TERF, yeah.
Yeah, right. What does that stand for again? But I think I'm considered one.
Trans exclusionary radical feminist?
Something like that. I don't know what it stands. Let's look at what TERF stands for.
Look it up, see if I got that shit right.
If you got it right, Rob.
Trans exclusionary radical feminist, I believe. I said it all slow like I was sure of myself, but I was like, I don't know. You're going to get plots of TERF for your backyard.
A feminist who excludes the rights of transgender women from the advocacy of women's rights. So I guess I am a TERF because I don't know what rights you want. I don't want you in my restroom. I don't.
No.
I don't. But I would be okay with Blair White in my restroom. How's that? A little bit. Is that a little bit biased there?
A little, yeah. That's pretty biased.
That is pretty biased. Why do you think I accept that? I think I accept it because she accepts it. She's not.
Exactly.
She's
honest with the situation.
She's honest with the situation, and also she looks too much like a female. I would be scared for her in a men's restroom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I would be scared for her because she looks. I mean, she's pretty, and she's not. I don't know what she did to look so feminine.
You didn't even tell me if I was right, but I am right. It is trans exclusionary.
Oh, well, it didn't
feminist.
give me the acronym, like the meaning of every.
I gotcha.
The acronym didn't. Oh, trans exclusionary radical feminist. Yeah, you were right.
Booyah.
First recorded in 2008.
Wow.
Where have I been that this has been? See how I didn't even know any of these things were happening. And it's funny because also when Rogan said that Jordan
Peterson
was talking about this in 2015,
15, yeah.
I was like, I don't remember hearing about that in 2015, but had I heard about it in 2015, I might have thought they were crazy.
Oh, for sure. Everybody did. Everybody just kind of ignored them and they were like, that's never going to happen.
Exactly. I might have been like, right. Okay. There's transvestites. Duh. I mean, everywhere. That's common. But someone who, I would love to know who's behind this push. I mean, we all kind of know, right? But I would like to know who sat in this, like, in the meeting and said, y'all, so I have the perfect fucking idea.
Paint the picture. Where are they?
What is it? All right. So it's going to sound crazy, but I'm going to tell you guys, everybody's going to jump on this shit. We're even going to have the parents on it. You know, we're going to have people voting on this shit. And we're going to make like a whole war about it. We're even going to have names for this. Like, who's ready?
Are they wearing capes? Do they have crowns on or masks?
They are wearing masks.
Okay, they're wearing masks.
And they're all sitting 6 feet apart from each other also. Okay. And they're probably having the conversation of like, get this. So we do this thing called transgender. What is that? Okay. So we've heard of trans before, right? Yeah. Okay. But this time we start giving hormone blockers as little as 3 years old. What? No, that can't. No, it can. So I found a few doctors who are willing to agree with everything that I'm saying and everything you're going to say. And then we're even going to get celebrities to join us, right? Because we pay for their shit. So they have to do what we do. And they have to follow whatever we say or they're fucking canceled. You got it? Because we're on this canceling fucking, shit. So what do y'all think? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, gosh, I have a 4-year-old. Oh, well, I have a 10-year-old. I don't know how to feel. But guys, we're not talking about your kids. We're talking about other people's kids. We would never do that to y'all's kids. That's silly. Come on now. It's just the peasants. We're not peasants. Their money pays for us. So hello. They're so dumb. They're going to fall for it. Hello. And then everybody falls for it.
I feel like podcasting gives you more of your life back.
Yeah, I think it did. Because I've been itching to I talked to you last week about like wanting to podcast more just because I just have shit to talk about. And I hate having to wait until the following week to talk about it. Should we say what we're going to do?
Yeah, if you want to.
So, comadres, don't be mad at me. But we will now start having 3 episodes a week. And if you're part of the Patreon, you will get the bonus episode if you're a chingona and up on there. So anybody who's a comadre will not. And if you get this for free, you're not going to get the second episode. So I'm excited for that. I really hope that, you guys come on over and check us out. And, shout out to all the new people on our Discord. Oh my God. Y'all, are y'all really going to help me get to 50? And I know that some of y'all are laughing like, she only needs 50. That's all. I know. Baby steps, y'all. I have goals and I set realistic goals. Okay. So I think we might get to 50 by the end of the year. We're at 36.
We're at, I think it is. It's 34 or 35 maybe, but I don't think that counts the yearly. Some people have done yearly, so I'll double check. I was going into the Discord actually because one of our newest ones, it's probably Crystal. Is it Crystal?
37.
37. Okay. All right. I like it.
I know.
Some of those count our yearly subscribers, which you can do, and you can get a discount if you subscribe to the yearly premium content tiers. Let me see.
So shout out to Crystal Reyes, Sarah King, Crystal Diaz, Sheila, Marcus. She's my Wonderland play.
Oh, cool,
That's her.
cool.
Yeah, she's my dog. I love her story. I think her story is the best story I've heard so far. Really story. I really like her story.
And we're gonna have a lot of guests in 2023.
Yes, we are gonna have.
Do that. I mean, you can't really see it. So we're in Soul's new studio. I'm really zoomed in on you so they can't really see the sign, but the lighting looks great on you where it is. But we're kind of seeing how everything looks today. Where she's gonna sit, where the cameras are gonna be,
where everything's gonna be.
Yeah, where the guests will be. Which seat you like more? Maybe you'll sit over there on the next episode. See if you like looking this way or that way.
Yeah,
we got to get a monitor for over here for when people either zoom in or pull stuff up. Something that's a little bit bigger than the tiny one we have over there. And yeah, it's just kind of it's expansion process.
Yeah,
slowly but surely.
Slowly getting there. So yeah, so where was I at? Oh yeah, so about the new episode. So yeah, so if you haven't yet, come on over to the Patreon. And if you don't want to join the Patreon, you can join it for $1, and then you can be on the Discord, and then you can be part of the fam too. So,
yeah, that's kind of more the most fun anyway. Let's be real.
Yeah. What was the new person's also? Chris was it Chris USA?
Yeah. So is that Crystal? I think it was. I mean,
Is that Crystal? Because I can't see. She does. There's no picture on the
curly hair.
on the Patreon
in the
app. There
Discord.
isn't,
Oh, yeah,
but in
yeah,
the
yeah.
Discord it is.
So-
Well, I love her because she's a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, she
And
came in hot in the
and
Discord.
I love that because I kind of love those kind of things because then I go down those little rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like, yes, we have a conspiracy theorist in here. So she's new. So shout out to her for coming on over. That might be Crystal Reyes then, right?
Yeah,
If she
I
goes
think
by
so.
Chris. Okay, because I can't see a picture of her on the Patreon, but I can see it on.
It's funny. I have one of my best friends from high school. She spells it with a K as well, and she was the only person that spelled Crystal with a K. And now our patron also spells.
I know another girl, that I went to church with her name's Crystal.
So since I'm in here, she submitted a question for today's podcast
let's
questions in
hear
the
it.
channel. So since today's election day, Marisol, do you find yourself still trying to red pill your family who are still Democrats?
I've just kind of stopped. I didn't want to have that conversation anymore. It just kind of always got weird, especially with the vaccine when that was happening. And also my family has never been political, just to put that out there. My dad's side hasn't. My mom's side, on the other hand, I have an aunt who I've talked about. She's always been, I think, red pilled. So has my mom. Not sure why my aunt has always been. Might be because her husband's military. So I'm not sure if that's
That makes
why.
sense. That would make sense.
But she's also one that is pretty. My aunt's extremely red pilled. Like we can have hella conversations about it, and like she should join the Discord. If anything, I'm not lying to you, because she'd go ham in that bitch. Like seriously.
You should just be like, hey, give the family a discount. You can pay 50 cents.
Yeah, right.
half
And
off.
she's my aunt. Like if I text her anything, well, actually, she's kind of a Juan Big Smoker. I know that's not his name, guys, but that's
It
what I
is
like
now.
to call him.
It is now.
She would be the one to say, like, if you read this book, her son, when we were growing up, if he didn't have his books read, that he was, and no, these were not books assigned by school, by the way. These are books assigned by my aunt. Okay. If he didn't have his books read by the time we came in for the summer to go to Disney, he was not going because he didn't finish his reading. And we're talking about he was reading Rush Limbaugh books.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I remember looking at the book like, that's what your mom has you reading? I mean, we're talking about like 10 years old.
Man, and 10 years old. Holy crap.
10, 11, 12, 13. So we stopped going to Disney. Pretty old. I was almost 15. Actually, I think that was the last time I went, was when I was about 15. Anyway, so we went to visit my aunt every summer. And so he had and there were always political books that he had to read, like all the time. I'm not sure why that was either, but they were like chapter books. But my cousin is like Juan, super duper well read, can talk to you about anything in this world, and can recommend any book, to the point that even though he didn't follow the right path, his reading habits have never stopped, though. It's interesting to me. Never. Yeah.
To piggyback off that, just here actually she replied to Crystal saying, mine's a lost cause. Me and my siblings are the only red-pilled ones, and I often wonder if it's because our parents are self-employed. My brother got a lot of thumbs down, so she sends a screenshot of her text thread with her family. Tons of people in this text thread, it looks like. And somebody put, Greg Abbott, 2023, 2022, which would be for next year. And it's a bunch of thumbs down. So it's weird. It's weird to have, like, mine would be the complete opposite. All of my siblings and brother-in-law and everybody that's in my thread are just like, yeah, for sure. Like, red wave.
No, not mine at all. I can tell you who would be and who would not be. Like, I could tell you already. And we don't talk about it like at all. I have one aunt who I can talk to about it. My other aunt's very neutral. She doesn't really like talking about this stuff, but she still has a lot of Democrat ways.
I hope to change that for like the better. For like when Brooklyn and Weston are my age now, and they're in their 20s and 30s and stuff, I hope that we will have had enough discussions where it's like, it's not, I hate that, oh, we don't talk about it, or like we just stay out of it. Like that's not productive.
But you know what, Robin, you're probably too young for this. And anybody who's around my age, I'm wondering if you guys remember when we were in elementary school, we would pretend to vote when it was time to vote for presidents.
I
We
remember
wouldn't-
stuff like that, but not for that specifically.
We wouldn't tell anybody who you were voting for. You would just write down the name, and you would put it in this box that the teacher had in the front, and it was just kind of teaching you the importance of voting.
Yeah.
It's funny. We didn't, but I do only remember one teacher just telling us why Ronald Reagan was so great. That's the only, it's weird how I remember that. And I don't know how old I was. Like maybe second grade.
Oh, dang. You're really dusting off the hard drive there. Second grade's a long time ago.
I know. No, you know what's even funnier? I told Pete the other day, I said something like, excuse me, I said, I'm burping air, y'all, just so y'all know, because I've had no food. I don't know what I said. I said, oh, geez. It was something about being on the drill team or something like that, to where I said, oh my God, I was on the drill team. Wait, I graduated 22 years ago. And then I said, eesh. And that meant I was on the drill team a few years before that. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how old I am. I was like, this is like, I'm speaking that many, 22 years ago. Because I was having this conversation also because I just saw my mom how I didn't feel well and I was sick. And so she was like saying something. And I said, she goes, well, I said, yeah. I said, but you know, I have babies. I was like, so there is no time off when you have babies. I said, can you imagine, Ma? I said, you at my age had a 21-year-old.
How's that make you feel?
I said, I have a 4-year-old and a 15-month-old, and I'm 41. And my mom said, yes, I also didn't get to do any of the things you got to do, though. And I was like, okay, well, when you put it like that, you make a good point. It's just like, I didn't get to party. I married really young, you know. And so she's like, it's different times. And because I said, only I would get the idea of, oh, I think I should have a baby at 36. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would only occur to me that at that age I would have it. And my mom's like, yes. Also, can you imagine if you just would have had a baby from random guys you dated? How awful would that be? Now your child be growing up with no like some random father you're not with right now. And she's like, and two, you probably wouldn't have partied the way you did. And we all know how you partied. And I was like, very true. I was like, I couldn't imagine going live without all those partying years. Because I literally had not stopped until I met Pete. That was the year that I met him. I had just finally slowed down. Like, it was really weird. That was 33. I met him at 34. So the year before that, I had already just stopped if anybody invited me to a club, it was an absolutely no. Like, I'm not doing it.
At 33? After
yes,
33.
I was 33. I remember, and I have this picture, and I have to find it. My girlfriends, we decided to have a girls' night out, and we started off at El Tiempo, right? And down the street on Washington in El Tiempo, there's all those clubs. So we said, let's go to El Tiempo, and then after that, we'll go to, have some drinks at this club. And I was like, okay, sounds fun. We were all like, this is fun. Legit, Rob, we stayed at the bar the whole time because we didn't want to lose our seats. We sat there the whole night, and it was 11. We got there so early that by 12:30 we were like, are you ready to go? I'm ready to. Are you? All right, let's go. We literally all called Uber, and that's when Uber was still super expensive because it was new, and we all lived in Spring.
Oof.
So we all took, we shared that expense because it was so expensive.
Yeah.
But we're like, okay, well, we'll never do this again. Let's just stick to what we know. And then that was it. I don't think I've been to a club except for when he did the appearance when we were in the valley.
Yeah.
And that was not because,
that was just part of work, basically.
yeah. So, I just think oh my gosh. But that was around the last time I stopped. It was like, damn, I'm old. I'm done with this. This is not fun for me anymore. We couldn't talk to each other. Again, my vibe right now is if you told me let's go to a bar where there's going to be a live band, I'd been like, yes. Because one, that means I get to sit down. Two, I'll get to stand up whenever I feel like it versus excuse me, right?
Yeah.
I get to stand up whenever I feel like it. If I feel like going to dance, there'll be a little bitty dance floor. And it's usually married couples that will be dancing at these bars. You know what I'm saying? Or their boyfriend and girlfriend, divorced And I'm telling you that because that's the kind of places that I would go to back then. So, yeah, I can't imagine now. There's no way you could convince me to go to a club. If you have a party there, I'm more than likely 99% sure going to make up an excuse why I can't go.
Yeah, you say you met Chingo at the right time, right?
Yes.
For all that?
Yes.
I definitely met Don at the right time too, because I was partying super hard. I was all about entrepreneurship and running this business and partying like at night and meeting people and whatever. But yeah, I'm glad I met her at 27. She was 33, I think. So for her, it was probably also like, she
was done.
Yeah, just life was going down a different path anyway. So it was probably the best for me.
I was still not done at 27. I was still going hard.
Oh, I could have gone super hard in the pain.
I was still going 27 hard, 28 hard, 29 hard. When I hit 30, that was my first low-key birthday. Like I went to something de anda, something. It was like a Spaniard restaurant here downtown. They have live flamenco dancers. And then afterwards, we went to the club that's down the street from there. But was also, I got like a table so that I didn't have to. So it had already kicked off because I paid for the table so that we had bottle service so that we didn't have to get up constantly. And it was a very bougie club. So there wasn't going to be a lot of people there anyway. So that was probably the last party thing that I did. And after that, I kept it super simple to where it was weird. Like, my girlfriend, who we have the same birthday, right? She and I used to celebrate our birthdays together every year because it was just funner that way, So we've rented limousines. We've done where rented a section out of a club. I mean, we've done so many things together to where it was like a given. One time when we rented the limo, I don't know how many stops we made to where everybody was fucked up. Like they threw up in the limousine. I was like, oh my God, we're going to have to pay for this because now it's under my name, and it was like party zone. So it was funny because they were going to try to go to Vegas to the show out there and they weren't able to make it because of, babysitting situations. But I thought, oh my God, I was already like thinking to myself, am I going to have to get my liver ready? Like, is this going to have to be something like, are we going to get party or are we going to party like mom and dad's? I was so curious to see how that was going to go down. They didn't end up going. I didn't end up going. So that didn't happen, but it was funny because I was thinking to myself, like, I'm wondering how this situation is going to go down because we partied hard before for our birthdays. I mean, we've had so many crazy nights. I mean, we've done the Renaissance Festival for my birthday, and then afterwards we'd get fucked up. Somebody would have to be the designated driver. We would purposely go to the Renaissance Festival to get fucked up.
And now you just think about your most recent birthday.
And now I just think about I went to take my kids to the pumpkin patch.
It sounds so miserable, but also awesome at the same time.
I seriously, for some reason, it was the best. I felt like it was the best. It was so weird because even my grandmother came out. It was like, I never thought of considering my grandmother in my birthday. Yeah. So that was like really cool. I was like, oh, this is really nice. Like we came to the pumpkin patches for my birthday. I took pictures with my family. I got to spend it with my grandma, which I thought was really cool. I had my girls with me. I was like, this was a really good. I was just missing my husband. That was it.
Oh, you were just missing a cocktail.
No, I was missing my husband, and that was it. But other than that, I mean, I had a really good birthday, and I really sat back and thought, wow, I can't believe I really think this was a really good birthday. Like that's how you know you're getting old, when you're thinking this is a really good birthday. I don't know how we got sidetracked, Chris, off of, have you?
Oh, yeah. Are you red pilling your family anymore?
I'm red pilling my family, but no. But I think that I'm pretty neutral going back to that, to the point to where I'm open to hear anybody's side as to why they still feel a certain way. I'm not somebody who tries to push anything on anyone, but I have come to the point to where I feel like I'm grown. I have children now. And if this is how I feel, then this is how I feel. And if that is how you feel, then that is how you feel. And we just have to learn how to coexist. And that's all there is to it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, that's all it is. And it's either we're going to all work together to do something about it. And eventually people will start waking up and thinking, you know what? Like the same thing Marissa and I talk about every time. If we just worked as a community and came together, the fucking government would be in so much trouble that that'd be it.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like just 2 or 3 years ago, you would have been maybe more on the opposite, where you would have wanted to like engage almost angrily with somebody that disagreed with maybe a point of view of
That's
yours?
exactly how I used to do it before. Before it was that way. I couldn't stand when anybody would send me something. I would go back and forth until one day I literally said, I don't even fucking know this person.
What was the catalyst, you think? Is it? Here's what I'm just kind of being observant, right? Was it getting older in itself? Being a parent, all together? Is it podcasting more? Is it doing interviews? Like, what was one of the main catalysts?
I think it's educating myself more. I really didn't know enough before to, even when I did argue or have a disagreement with someone, it was just based on the basic information that I knew. But I think I know more now to where it's like, I'm not going to get to you and you're not going to get to me because I've already been over there. Right. And now I'm over here. So now there's nothing that you can tell me that's going to convince me to go on that side again, unless there's some major change.
What about getting this person to join you? You're like, you did it, right? So how do I get this, let's just imaginary friend?
I would every time that, and I feel like, again, I'm going to quote my homie, conversation rules the nation. So, I mean, if we sat and talked and you gave me your points, like legit, give me some good points. Because most people that are on that side can't tell me why they're for any of the people they're voting for.
Yeah.
And you can't possibly think. Can you imagine a Bethel world, bro?
I don't know. They're trying hardcore down here in downtown Houston.
They're trying so hard. And did you see that video that Monica?
Yeah, he was outside of a polling location, right?
Which is illegal.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that, so I had to read about that shit.
That's what I was saying earlier. You can't even wear. You're not even supposed to wear.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the T-shirt, but I didn't read that part. But I read about they're not even allowed to be there. So I was really like,
yeah, because it's considered
what?
basically campaigning. Like you can't have like a Republican or a Trump thing or whatever. Because
so why did anyone do anything about it? Isn't that funny?
Strange.
Now let's see. Let's ask this: had it been Abbott doing that, what do you think would have happened?
Oh, headlines, right? Headlines from all the liberal media outlets that don't like him. It's not a fair world, though, right?
It's not.
And you got to take it in stride because, have you ever read The War of Art? Mm-mm. I know Chingo has, and
he hasn't.
We've talked about it from time to time.
I think he gave you one, no? Or was that a copy of something? Or he gave it to somebody?
No, he didn't give me that. But I was looking for my original copy. I was telling Juan about it, and I feel like I just got it. So it came across my radar, and I started reading it again last week. Dawn had never read it, so I got her a copy. You have to read it. If he has one in the house somewhere,
I think he does.
It's a
I have to
short
check out
book.
his books.
It's a short book. Please read it. Like it changed my life in my early 20s, and now rereading it again in my early 30s, I was like, it's stuff that we've all talked about, we've said, but the way Stephen Pressfield, the way he frames it is just like, okay, if this doesn't empower you to get this thing XYZ whatever it is going, then you're just screwing yourself, right? We've talked about that, but the book does such a good job of framing it.
I want to make sure that my girls don't do what I did, to where my mom, like I've talked about, has always been on the right and I was always on the left. So we never agreed. So we never spoke politics because anytime that we would try to, it was always an argument. So there was no point in us having this conversation, right? It was just going to create a bigger argument at home.
Right.
So I wonder though, Rob, had my mom maybe, or maybe not, because you're a teenager and you think you know everything, right? Had my mom maybe talked to me in a different way, or if she would have explained things differently, right? Had I been like, always been, because I had conservative ways, according to you guys. I did, but I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. Like the way I thought about stuff and the way I viewed things, I had no idea. I mean, I think when we first started, What Did He Said? I don't know where that episode is, but it'd be funny if you found it, Rob, where I'm like, I'm not conservative though, but you are. Like, I'm telling you, like, you're like telling me of all the things that I'm for. And you're like, that's what well, no. And I'm like, still very I don't know yet. I need to figure this out for myself. That was always my response to whenever.
Took a global pandemic to figure it out.
It did. And, but I didn't realize that I had conservative ways, but it was because, again, my upbringing, I still felt a certain kind of way about certain things. And,
what do you think it'll take with the girls or with your kids?
I don't know, but I want to make sure that I have open conversations about these things, and I want them to understand. And I want them to tell me why they think, like, let's just hypothetically, have my mom said, maybe. Okay, well, tell me why you think that way. Like, who told you that? Where did you hear that? Who did you have these conversations with? What book did you read, right?
Do you think your mom was persuasive and a good communicator when you were younger? Or was it porque dije and SOS and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think my mom was like, this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That whoever's telling you that is lying. And it was always like, no, like, that's not, you're just so old fashioned. That was always my thing. You're so old fashioned and you're from Mexico, so you don't get it, right? That was always my thing. It was like, you're an immigrant, you'll never understand the real
We're little
American.
assholes when we were kids, huh?
Totally,
God, man. My sister and I used to tell to my mom too for a lot of things.
What?
Just well, for her it was like being an immigrant from Mexico and also super religious. Couldn't go out, couldn't be out late, couldn't go to even if it's relatives to stay the night. None of those things would ever fly.
But Pentecostals were strict, but I think Jehovah's Witnesses are even more, right?
They're fucking terrible.
Or about the same, you think?
I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the Pentecostal, but
We're not allowed to, like, they're not allowed to cut their hair.
they're not supposed to cut, like, supposed to have it long. The
long
skirts,
Long skirts too for Jehovah's Witnesses.
yeah.
Okay, long skirts for Pentecostals
No
too.
birthdays and like celebrations for those kind of things.
No, we do that. We do the birthdays. What about going to the movies?
Good one. I don't know. We never went to the movies, so it was never a thing.
Okay, so we couldn't go to the movies because, which doesn't make sense the way they would say it. But if they said it like this, then I would have said, makes sense. Check this out. If God comes, he's not going to take you from out of the movie theater. He's going to, because you're not going to hear the siren.
Oh,
Okay?
wow.
That's what was church. But if you would have said, it's because of the type of movie you're watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not anything, like, it's nothing good for you. It's maybe like drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it is. And God doesn't want us to, like, if it would have been explained like that, I would have been like, oh shit, okay, well, that makes sense. God doesn't want us to have bad thoughts. You know what I'm saying? But all you're going to tell me is if God comes, you're not going to hear the siren. Right. I'm just going to not hear it.
I'm also not going to hear Godzilla siren coming,
you know what
too.
I'm saying? Like, so it was like, that was my thing. That's a problem. I think sometimes it's like things are not, there's no, when you ask the why, it's because I said so. I just had this conversation with someone and I can't think of who I had it with, where I said, I'm not going to do I don't want to be the, because I said so. Now, will there be sometimes? Well, yes, yes. But like when I feel like there's certain things that deserve an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I need to give them to my daughter, regardless of me. I pay your bills, regardless of me, I put a roof over your head. The clothes that you wear, the activities that you get to do are because of me, right? I don't want to say those things. I want to actually have an answer. And why I decided to read that Mama Apologetic is a book of like how to respond to your kids, and it's not always because I said so or because I put a roof over your head. You know what I'm saying? When you give a child, I feel, an explanation of something, regardless if they don't agree with you, I feel like they feel like, well, my mom was reasonable. Mm-hmm. She at least told me why. Yeah. Even if I don't agree with her, at least she told me why. Versus our parents growing up, it was like, because I said so, period. Point blank.
And an aggressive way,
and
too.
My mom used to be like, the day that you pay bills in this house is the day that you have an opinion. That's what she would say to me. And so when I moved out, I was only 19. I was turning 20 because I'd only been in Houston for a little bit over a year. And so she was like trying to have a curfew on me. I went from living in College Station with no curfew. I did whatever I want. I come home and you're trying to put you got to remember, I went from being independent over there to coming home, and now I'm having rules, which was really hard for me to here's the thing. Financially, I had a job that paid very well, which I didn't need my mom technically financially, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just not a custom for you to leave your home if you're not married when you're Hispanic. So that's why I was living there. Well, I took it upon me one day while she was in Germany for a month, and I needed a co-signer. So I convinced my grandmother, because I had no credit, to co-sign for me in an apartment. And so my dad knew, but my mom didn't. And my dad's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I didn't want to tell my dad that it was because, one, my mom now had a boyfriend, and two, I didn't want to follow her rules. And she used to say that the day that I paid my own bills was the day that I had an opinion, which is what I'm afraid of my child to do to me, because I was not the best fucking kid. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I was rebellious,
When
you know?
parents say that, it's like they don't know that that's actually pushing the kid away.
Yeah. And what is that?
Oh, I don't know. Some
It's like cheering. Oh, it's I was like,
Yeah.
are there people out here cheering shit already? How
We
do
have an audience outside?
How do we know
I
already?
know,
that they're
right?
about-
It's supposed to take days. Now it's early. What's up with this? Dude, there's some sketchy shit going on. there.
that fact that even came out, I said, that's it.
We'll talk about that on Friday's episode.
I was like, man. But going back to that, so I just remember telling my dad, I didn't want to tell him that my mom had someone because he didn't. And so that would have been really like, even though they'd been divorced already by that time, like 7 years or something, I still felt a certain kind of way about my
Yeah,
dad knowing.
For sure.
And so I was like, you got to understand. So I didn't grow up without a dad. Okay. So maybe if I would have been a more traditional divorced family, and what I mean by that is usually kids who have parents, they divorce kind of young. So they're able to, I feel, maybe not adjust to the best of their ability, but they're able to adjust a little bit better, accepting like, oh, my mom remarried. I was so young. I don't even remember that person. Right. So for them, it's my dad and my stepdad, who I love just genuinely the same because he came into my life at such a young age. You know what I'm saying? So they don't really know we're talking about my parents' divorce when I was almost 16. We're talking about 16 years of my parents together, right? So I didn't know any difference of a new person. And so my sister, luckily I'd left, so I didn't have to do the whole seen my mom with someone else, but my sister did. And she would always complain about it, right? And so I'd always be like, oh, you just have to get used to it. Like it's new for everybody, you know? So that's how I saw it. It wasn't until I came home and I was like, oh yeah, this is not for me. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, why can't you go to his house? Why does he have to come to our house? And so that was an argument at the house. And like I said, if she voices now, guys, like I tell you at 4, I don't want to know what she's going to be like because I've always voiced my opinion. And my mom used to always tell me as a kid, I really hope you turn out to be a lawyer one day. She's like, because my God, if anyone is able to beat you, I will be surprised because we would have these discussions.
Used to be the same
and I
way.
was so young. And my mom used to feel like, you don't need to have this many opinions or thoughts or ideas. It's like you're too young type of thing, you know?
Ironically, dude, don't you think that we were telling our parents, like, be better at communicating with us, you know? So we don't seem like a thorn in their side.
Yeah. And my dad, I think, did a better job of it. I think my dad was more like, well, I'm your dad and these are our rules. And I'm sure you don't like them, but these are the rules. But again, there wasn't like a big explanation, but it was a better, more calmed, not so much of a, because I said so type of
Your
thing.
mom was meeting you where you were at, whereas your dad didn't do that.
Yeah, my dad was more like, it's because I said so, but let me I guess his voice was nicer.
Dude.
It wasn't even like he
wasn't meeting you where you were.
Exactly. My dad was more like, listen, when you grow up and you have your kids, you're going to remember this and you're going to understand why these are the rules that we have. And it was more like that. And it was like, okay, well, he's right. I don't have kids, so I don't know what that's like. You know, so it made me more like, okay, dad's right. You know what I'm saying? Versus my mom, it was more of we were, always like clashing and we'd be arguing and stuff. So yeah, so I just decided one day while she was in Germany for a month, I said, peace out, I'm out of here. So I asked my grandmother to co-sign for me. I moved out. My mom came home. All of my stuff was gone. I moved it out by myself in a little bitty Mitsubishi Eclipse, just so you know. Had no help from nobody. I took my bed, took everything. Like, I literally moved the fuck out. And then when she came home, she was livid. Like, and I brought my sister to stay with me because I had to take care of her. So, like, obviously, like, oh, I'm going to, like, you want to help me move my stuff? She's like, cool. Like, she thought it was cool because now my sister was going to have her own apartment. Now she had a place to go when she didn't want to be there. And so it was like, I'm out of here. And when she came back, I still worked for her. So I still helped her out at the shop, even though I had a job. And so she wouldn't talk to me. And we were like, we'd have to work with each other because I was still helping her. And so, oh my gosh, guys, sorry about that. But I remember it made our relationship so much better when I moved out. We were able to talk to each other. We communicated better. She now saw me as her friend slash daughter, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what I mean, we weren't like homies, but what I mean by that, it was almost like my daughter's an adult, you know. And then it was funny because I never forget, her boyfriend tried calling me like, hey, like, your mom's really sad, you should come home. I said, excuse me, sir, don't call my phone. Don't call my phone. First of all, this ain't about you if you think it's about you. And second of all, you ain't my dad. Bye.
You should be like, you're like, yeah, I answered the phone.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, no filter, bro. Like, I'm telling you, I hope my kids don't do me that way, because I'm afraid of that. Because I wasn't. My mom and I just always bumped heads. There was a lot of reasons why we did. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of things I didn't agree that she did as a parent, and you know, wasn't afraid to voice it. And you know, when she kind of felt like, "What the fuck do you think you are?" You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, though, the weirdest thing is I still had fear. Like, I still feared her and respected her, even though, because I'm going to give you a perfect example. When I went to go live with my ex, I didn't know how I was going to tell my mom, and I lived with her. At that time, though, my mom and I were like this already, because now I came to live with her, and I had come back to live with her after I went through that whole, which we talked about before on the podcast, about getting into debt and all that shit happened. I got laid off. So we had developed a different relationship now. Like, it was almost like we were roommates, because now my sister was married. So she and I were like more like roommates. You know, I helped in the house, so I helped pay bills as well. And, you know, I made sure dinner was made by the time she got home. And, you know, I was in school, so it was like I was school, they work. It was a really different dynamic for us. And I'm going to say that what helped was this living apart for so many years.
Yeah.
It was like I allowed her to maybe see, like, oh, my daughter's an adult now. Like, she's no longer, I think, I don't know if it's a Hispanic thing or just a parent thing, but I think we want to keep our little kids for so long. It's hard for us to see them like, oh, they're whole grown, like they're whole grown adults. Like, they're able to pay their own bills. Like, they don't need me to help with, you know, oh, do you have money for this or that? It's like, shit, you know, type of thing. Maybe it's a feeling of losing control now. Yeah, because now they're adults, and you don't, you know, I don't know what it is.
They get to grow as people. They're no longer growing as parents anymore necessarily, because they're not, you know.
But I would think that they'd be happy, like, fuck yes, I ain't gonna take care of this little fucker no more. Like, you know, I don't know.
Unless you really love your kids, in which case you're like, no, stay here as long as possible.
Which I feel like that about my girls.
Dude, the twins just turned 8 last month, and I'm like, man, they're gonna be 18 in 10 years. I'm not sleeping on 10 years, because it's gonna come here before I know it. And it's never going to be as fun as it was yesterday.
But I feel like girls are easier to keep at home versus guys. I think guys are so much quicker to leave for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
like,
no, definitely.
So I kind of always feel like, as long as I make my home, I feel like, where they don't feel like, oh, my mom's got all these rules, I can keep them at home as long as possible before they go out and, you know, fly free like a bird, you know?
Or we just buy a compound. Everybody can live here.
That's what I want. That's really what I want. I want for them to share like a little apartment in the back.
Bro.
Where they still, and I'm going to make them pay for their light bill by them. I am.
You're still working, motherfuckers.
You still got to learn, understand, but I want them to like have their little apartment. I don't know that I want to have like curfews at that age. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like once they get to a certain age, curfews are just like silly.
Yeah.
Like at 21, what am I going to say? Be home at 2?
I mean, but now we're like, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. Nothing good happens after midnight.
And honestly, I don't know. I feel like their world, and I hate to admit this because you know how I'm against the meta world, right? But I feel like they're just going to put on some fucking goggles and go party in these goggles.
I mean, I could be wrong, but like, we were in the night scene for a long time. I don't think the night scene in 15 years is going to be the same night scene that it was 15 years ago.
I think there's going to be so many different things like available. I think partying is going to be totally different by the time they're 18.
Yes, full pod,
21.
like Matrix. It's going to go into your skull.
Exactly.
Neuralink.
I feel like, oh, I'll be back, Mom. I'm going to blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? But they're like physically here, which I feel I'm gonna be the grandma that's like, that's so weird that y'all do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be that person. But thanks, Chris, for all that, because that led into this whole other subject.
Yeah. So I guess now we'll shift into Friday. Fun day Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you need to pause or anything?
Yeah. I need to go
Okay.
to the restroom.
We'll wrap it up then.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, come on over to the Patreon, become a member of Her World, join us. We have a great community. Just here is doing better. We're so happy to hear that. Her surgery went well. So we're just hoping for a speedy recovery for her. Thank you to everyone who came together and sent her an amazing gift, and so that she can, recover, calmly, and because it's going to take her a little while.
Yeah.
So shout out to the TIA and shout out to her soldiers for all what.
It's just so funny, her soldiers.
We are, because we're a bunch of soldiers.
Yeah.
We out here fighting together.
Girls can do whatever guys can do. I get it.
Almost everything. Hey, I've got common sense now. And just like there's things that y'all can't do, right?
Well,
let's just leave it at that.
Some dudes will poop out babies in the future.
Gosh, let's
okay,
not,
have
please.
a great week.
Thank you, guys. See y'all Friday.